Hey, how you guys doing? My name's F. Dot. We're chilling here with one of the North American teams, Team Eager. Before we dive into it, let's just see what the vibe's like. Aurora, you seem to be having a really good time over there.
Yeah.
So right before we went live, I said something about the letter A, and Aurora comes out of left field like, "What about B?" And nobody thinks this is typical of Aurora. The only reason I'm referencing it, nobody thinks it's funny but Aurora, but because he finds it so incredibly hilarious, everybody else just sort of has to laugh along with him. And I think that's kind of Aurora in general, and kind of that sort of represents what you guys kind of do as a team. I think looking at what Aurora's kind of infectious around the squad, and off the field. We'll talk tactics and stuff later, but let's just talk about hanging out and chilling. What's it like to always be around somebody like Aurora?
It's always a good time with Aurora. Like scrims are a serious thing, and when you're practicing, it's a serious thing. But then sometimes you gotta lighten the mood, and Aurora's always the guy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly comes equipped with that. How does that work out? You ever go too far? You ever get in trouble when you're going when you're trying to be serious, and then you get Aurora in the corner?
Why are you looking at me?
It's
you. That's a good question for you.
Yeah, I think that's the struggle in a lot of competitive video games, right? Is like you have a lot of younger people and people that just typically these are their close friends and they like to joke with each other. So it's a matter of like finding the balance between joking and maintaining a productive practice environment.
Talk to me about what scrims are like, and what's the general vibe when Eager goes into a scrim? I know Pern likes to take things a little bit seriously, and Aurora kind of the opposite. How do you guys?
I take it serious. What the heck, F-Dot? No, I feel like I take it really seriously. Like all of us take it really, really seriously when we go into scrims, and we're one of the teams that really try to get like a lot of practice out of games, and we don't mind like if something goes wrong, like we'll restart the game just to figure out what we did wrong and then fix it and just improve that way. We don't even care if we lose. Like I know at one point we were losing a ton of scrims and we were still getting better, we felt, even though we were losing, and we were just taking like everything we could get from every scrim.
That's actually a big point. I want to interject real quick. A lot of people always talk about, hey, there's a couple of players that come to mind. Always really good in scrims, and you just can't play on the big stage. And teams break up because they lose scrims. Like that has actually happened in the Smite Pro scene for some reason. Talk to me about why it's important. Win or lose, scrims, it's not about the W or the L. It's about how you guys sort of work through it and find everything. So talk to me. Let's go a little bit deeper. I feel like scrims are always talked about but always glossed over. What do you guys get out of scrimming another team?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Scrimming is really an interesting dynamic. I feel like you have to have the right mindset and mentality when you go into a scrim. I know teams I were in before, it was so imperative to win the scrim, to keep on scrimming, because if you started losing a couple scrims, then you kind of just feel down and out, But again, if you change your mentality to where winning and losing doesn't matter in the scrim and you're just there to try to learn, then it becomes a lot more fun to do it, and it becomes winning or losing doesn't matter, and you keep on practicing. That's one thing that I love about our team is we lose scrims all the time, and sometimes we do like get mad at each other, yell at each other, but at the end of the day, we're all learning something, and then let's say at the end of the day after 5 losses, we do something right, and then all of a sudden it clicks. And then that day became so worth it, in terms of scrimming, and that knowledge that you gained from all those losses and the fact that you kept going, stays with you when you actually need it in competitive matches.
So do you guys sort of have an idea going in, like, all right, we want to practice tanky junglers tonight, and let's see how it works out, or we want to practice an assassin solo? I'm just throwing things out there, but is that how you guys approach scrims, with sort of a play style in mind?
I mean, sometimes we just go for like just trying to improve as a team, like just get better at doing certain things in the game as well.
I think a lot of times someone comes in with an idea, whether it's Pern that says, I want to try this jungle, and then we're like, okay, let's build around that pick. Or Aurora wants to try this and that. That's where you see some of our janky picks. It's just
like we want to just try doing something certain like in game, and we'll just try it, even if it's not like a pick, and we'll just play like what we play.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah, just to see what happens, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of the times, like you said, like someone has an idea, and I feel like a lot of the times that should be kind of on me, and sometimes I'm good about it where I'll show up like a little bit early and say something, or the night before we'll mention something in like Twitter, and sometimes I don't. But I do think the times that one of us, whether it's me or someone else, does take the initiative and say, let's try this or this or this, it results in a lot better scrims.
Now, you guys said you get some of the crazy out in the scrims. You get some of the crazy relatively out in the real games too. You know, playing different stuff, and that open-mindedness. You guys are willing and always going to pull out something a little bit nuts, but at the end of the day, there is an eager mentality. What is the identity of Team Eager, right? You have some late game teams, you got some team fight teams, objective teams. What would you say that your identity is, with leeway, of course?
It's probably just we just play our own strategy. We play our own. We don't care what anyone else is doing. We don't look at. Well, of course, we look and try to get the good out of what other people are doing. But I think our identity is that we make our own strategies, we make our own meta, and we enforce it. We enforce, like, I guess, our will on the other teams. And if they can stop it, okay. If they can't, well, you know, they didn't really prepare for us.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I hope at least our goal is, well, if you work really hard, normally some people will call it you're like smarter than people or whatever. I think at the end of the day, it's just you prepared better, and we do a good job of acknowledging, like, if we do this, what's gonna happen, and can kind of like, you know, have an image in our head of what the game will look like based on what decisions we make. And then we go through with those decisions, and we're able to put people in these really uncomfortable positions where they've never thought about that. They've never tried that. They've never scrimmed against that. And so they have to kind of on the fly adjust to what we're doing as opposed to the other way around. And that makes it really hard for them to play against us. So yeah.
Is that something now, of course, you guys, this is a crew that just wants to win. You know, I think you'd play whatever negative strat that everybody hates, you know, whether it's cheese or not, you're still going to play it. But do you have fun kind of being a little bit winning a little bit differently than everybody else? Is that something you guys enjoy, or is it just all about the W?
I do. I always like one of my favorite things to do. I mean, is using Old Rat's a perfect example. Like, no one played Old Rat. They all were like, oh, he's garbage. And I played him, and I like really liked him. I thought he was really good, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of the fact that I was the only one that basically played him. And so, yeah, so I like it when I'm able to do something personally that other people aren't doing, because it makes me feel like, you know, it's something unique to me. I don't want to be like the same as everyone else.
Thor.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. I mean, in anything in life, it's satisfying when you're the first one to come up with it, or people are doubters about your strategy and things like that, and then all of a sudden you apply it and it works, and then everyone starts copying. You know, like Erlang support or like other things like that. Just in anything in life, when you do something like that, it's extremely satisfying.
Another thing is, like, we don't really care what other people say about our strategies. We all believe in each other, and that's like the key. Like, if people stop believing in what you're gonna do on your own team, then you're not gonna succeed.
Yeah, I mean, you guys playing as a unit, like DJ was talking about playing Old Rat. That spread to the teammate, right? Divio started playing, and it was basically just you two playing Ratatasker before the change, and you know that sort of commonality, I think, really helps what you guys have done here. You guys have been a team for a long time, and you know, sticking with that commonality, you guys haven't made many roster changes. Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a philosophy. That's actually a philosophy Pern instilled in me. I was a believer in roster changes. I did a lot of roster changes and on my other teams, and they hurt me in the long run. You know, and you think you want that quick fix or that instant gratification, but at the end of the day, that's not what makes a team a great team. You know, and then we had a lot of issues when we first started out. I mean, we sucked like real bad. Like, that's an understatement. We were terrible.
I mean, even this season, like you saw, the SPL, like Zap went on a trip, I went on a trip, Divios went on a trip, Zap went on another trip, I went on another trip, and then it's just like we weren't scrimming at all for like 5 or 6 weeks. We came back and we sucked in the SPL. Like it showed.
And to that point, it's just so easy to say, all right, you know, Roar sucks the most out of all of us. Let's swap him out for someone else that maybe sucks a little less. But at the end of the day, you don't grow as a team like that. You don't get better as a team like that. And that's one thing that you know, I love that I had the change of heart in that you know, with Perna telling me and explaining to me why it's so much better to as a philosophy to stick with the same players if they have the right attitude, right? You know, like everyone has a learning attitude, everyone has a workable attitude. There's no one that you can't work with on this team. I mean, some people are a little bit harder than others, but that's fine. That comes with the territory. That's what makes you. That's your personality. But again, everyone here wants to get better, wants to win, have the right attitude. So if you have that in a group of 5 guys, then you should stick with that. You should cherish that, because that's not an easy thing to find.
How did you sort of wade through the troublesome times early on?
Yeah, it was terrible in the beginning. You know, to be honest, like everyone just, you know, didn't like each other. Maybe we wouldn't even be a team anymore after after the beginning, and I don't know, it just clicked. I don't know, it was like there was the growing pains, and then it clicked.
Well, here's the thing, like you were saying earlier, like if you put us like all on the same team, like we all have really good ideas and stuff, and we want to share it, obviously, but sometimes like that's just not going to work, and you really have to be able to work with everybody well to do it. And if like you have that potential like on a team, like eventually if you put enough time and you keep grinding and trying to get like everybody on the same page, like it's going to click eventually, and I feel like that's what happened.
I think one thing to note too, it's you see it like retrospectively, so it doesn't matter at the time, but is that if you get a bunch of people who have a million ideas and play like non-traditionally, I guess a lot of the times it's really hard to play with them right away. You know, if you get someone and you like expect them to play 2 characters that everyone else plays, and they do this route and everyone else does it, it's really easy. You know, you can pick them up. You could even interchange people off your team with the other person that plays that traditional style, and you won't really have any hiccups. But when you throw a million ideas all at once, like it's destined to fail initially until you get an idea of like, oh, he likes doing this and this works well with that. Like you basically have to relearn the game.
Yeah.
So
I have a great example on the point that Pern made, is that for solo lane the meta was Bologna and I don't know something, and then Tibio's like, "Give me Robin," and I'm like, "This guy wants to play Robin again? Are you serious? He got dumpstered last time, or whatever, you know?" And then, you know, he kept getting Robin. We're like, all right, he keep getting Robin, and all of a sudden Robin became the most OP, you know, solo lane pick, and that goes to show, you know, that's how our team works. You know, that's the dynamic. But it was like Pern said in the beginning, was so hard to do. I'm like, why doesn't he just play Bologna? It's obviously like the best god in the game, you know?
Yeah,
Go ahead. That's
going back to like us trusting each other now and like believing each other, like we didn't have that at first. Like everybody had to build that like with the team. Like Zap said just right there. Like after he saw Ravana like do really well, and then people started playing, and he's like, okay, Divius
now,
knows what
Divius,
he's
play
talking
whatever you
about.
want, man. I don't care anymore. You know what you're doing. Just play whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. So
Building the trust, yeah.
yeah.
So individually, you guys seem to. I've sort of grabbed a couple of your roles. DJ, you're the captain of this team. You seem to be kind of the shot caller, the leader of everything. At least maybe not in game, but at least from an out of game perspective, you seem to lead everybody. Is it true?
Probably not out of game, more in game.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, like I think I will never be the person who I'm going to tell everyone what to do and I want them to follow and that's it. I want them to listen to the important calls and make sure, but I want them to, you know, be able to have input too, because again, I say it all the time, like, you know, you got to make that call, and I'll like tell someone like that was on them, like, because they have more information than me.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is this isn't a top-down MOBA either, so like I can't click over the map and be like, oh, this is exactly what Duo looks like right now. It's like, no, they have information that maybe is even like not, you know, they can't communicate it very well. It's they know it and they see it, but they can't communicate it like in the heat of the moment, so they need to be the one who makes the call. So yeah, I'll have a lot of ideas that I want to do, and I hope people listen. But at the same time, I think everyone plays a pretty big part in the overall team strategy and guidance.
You know, I feel like that was a big part of our team too. You know, I think it's so easy when you come from other teams. There's always roles where, okay, I'm just gonna listen to one guy. Let's say on enemy, everyone just listens to Pain, and I don't got to think. I don't got to do anything, right? I'm just waiting for the call, and I'm gonna follow it right away. And I think that was something that we struggled with in the beginning. But as time went on, everyone realized they got to master their craft. They got to know their role. We have to have a steady flow of information because every little detail counts. You know, jungler's in right side. Oh, I got to pull back a little bit. I don't know if I'm getting ganked or whatever. Or someone tells me, okay, I'm good to 1v1 because everyone's on the other side of the map. Things like that. And everyone became proactive in their roles. That comes with, and I think that helps with people coming in with ideas, because when you're thinking about your role a lot, when you're thinking about calls you have to make, you're like, oh, maybe this other god would make this situation easier, or this other god would work with best god a little bit easier. And something I feel like our team adapted to, really grasped, and just, you know, started doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like it. And like I said, you know, even if excuse me, even if other people are making moves, I think that just makes you the leader that gives other players sort of the capacity to be their own leader, which is important. So if DJ's kind of the pilot that listens to everybody else, Aurora, you kind of seem to keep everybody sort of in check as far as their attitudes are concerned. Would you say that's true as well?
No, I'd say that's more like Zap. He tries to keep
is that
yeah.
Zap's role?
Believe it or not,
Yeah.
Is that
I'm
Zap's
the fluffer. Pern came to me one day and he was like, Zap, listen, man, you know, because I was a negative reinforcer, I would say, in my other teams, because everyone used to, I would say I was Pern's role on my other teams, where I was calling people out and I was being negative. I was like, how do you not see that? Like, are you serious? Look at your mini map or whatever, right? And then Pern kind of came in and took that leadership role as the jungler and everything. And I kind of took a back seat to that. And I said, you know, I respect Pern as a leader and he's going to do his thing. But then I kept being a little bit negative towards my team in a way. And then Pern said, if I'm negative and then you're negative, then everyone's going to be in a bad mood and things like that. So he's like, you gotta fluff people up, be a fluffer. And I took that advice to heart, and I'm kind of like the neutral guy on the team where I'm just like, good job, Divios, great job, or you die, you'll get him next time, don't worry about it. And I never
I never heard you say that
one. Yeah, stop feeding, bro. Sometimes I think I would like to say it, but it doesn't come out. I'm still working on it, right? But it never in my years playing Smite, I thought I would be that role on the team, and I think that comes with maturing and growing up as a person, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much my role.
Yeah, he's come a long way. Like me and Bess both know.
Ain't that true?
Yeah.
So you got good cop, you got bad cop, I guess. What do you bring to the squad, Aurora?
I'm the funny cop. No, actually, I
You're
mean,
Paul Blart.
I feel like I bring like more of the crazy ideas to the squad for sure. Like I'm the guy who thinks of things, and DJ's like, "No, we're not doing that. No." And then I'm like, "Wait, let me show you." And he's like, "Okay, maybe." But yeah.
And that's how Arlong Sen's support shows up.
Yeah, exactly. DJ hated it at first, and he's like, "Okay."
I remember
okay.
we tried it in the beginning, and maybe we lost the game. I was like, "Never again." Or DJ was like, "Never again." And then later, before land, we were like, "Let's try it again." And then it was like the best thing.
A lot of heart with these guys. It's Team Eager. I'm sitting next to Zapman, the Hunter, Aurora, the support, and the captain and jungler, DJ Pernicus. That's going to do it for us with Team Eager. We'll catch you next time on Hi-Res TV.